Hello and welcome to the Inbetween Podcast. I'm your host Joe Scorn. I'm joined here by Tony Tones at RT. Tony, this week we're going to be talking about the new 2-hour Half-Life 2 documentary produced by NoClip.
Yep.
I watched the entire thing. It's fucking brilliant as always. For the 20th year anniversary of Half-Life 2, we're going to be talking about the brand new white OLED Steam Deck that I keep looking at and going, I don't need it, I don't need it, I don't need it. And
just get a white skin.
Tony, should DLC be able to win Game of the Year? We're going to be answering that question and more. What are you interested in talking about?
Looking forward to seeing the store page of. Are you getting the right name? Lego. Is it Lego Horizon?
You need to get the right name. I believe it's like Lego with the R trademark, and then it's Horizon TM.
Horizon Adventures TM.
TM.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, you gotta love. Like, okay, I understand there are trademarks and registers, but can we just like have it as a side? That's a different rant. Oh, and Steam Season Pass report actually
that seems
build.
really cool.
I've been wanting that for so long. It's been really annoying me.
So I said this week we need to talk about Tony's games because you've been playing Diablo 2 in the time.
Yeah, a little bit. This is going to be a small section, but yeah, I'll put a timestamp. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Why did you want to play Diablo 2 over any of the Diablo games? Because I would argue that Diablo 4 is probably the easiest point to get into.
Yeah, I don't know, 4, but 2 is cheaper.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I kind of the story seems like I've heard like good things about like 4's story, right? Like I'm not a person that has ever cared about like end game stuff. Like I don't like people like really complain about that. With 4 in mind, but that's not something I care about. So like I just want to like just play it as like start to finish as a offline. Can you play Diablo 4 offline?
No, it's always online.
It's always online.
Which is why I believe it may have won Steam Deck Game of the Year. To which I said, well, if you're ever on your Steam Deck outside of your house, you're never going to be able to play this. So
yeah,
which is how I primarily play my Steam Deck. But I understand there is people who are constantly, couch gamers. They'll be in their house with an internet connection.
Yeah, sure. But I do think when it comes to like best handheld game, I know it was Steam Deck, but I just like you should take that into account that it's portable and won't have necessarily internet.
Oh, aren't the Steam Awards soon? When do the Steam Awards start?
Oh, that's true. The nomination should be like December, right? Or was it like November? I don't know.
December 12th.
It's not on already, is it?
That's the Game Awards. Good. When did it start last year? You keep talking about Diablo. I'll try and.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I played up Diablo 2. A friend of ours like really liked Diablo 2. I was like, I'll give it a go. So it's the remaster version, right, or resurrected version, right, which is the remaster.
The 17th of December, I think.
Okay. 17th December. I'll think about my best Steam games of the year. So I haven't played.
Persona 3 Reload.
But yes, playing Diablo 2 is like, I would just describe it as like what I would want RuneScape combat to be. It's like that sort of era. It feels like it's an old game. Like even though it's like been remastered, like the way the key bindings work, I don't think you can really like rebind it to like make it more modern.
Isn't it like
the way that it's working?
The way Diablo works, you move only on like 6 planes. You don't actually have like full analog movement in terms of where you're going.
Well, you just click. I think you just I think you have eight directions you can technically go. Right. As far as it's just like one big world map with like dungeons you go into, and it's like you leave like the camp, and then like you have to then find teleport or like waypoints that you can then teleport back to. Then you have to like use a lot of teleport to town scrolls, like to just go and sell your stuff with like very limited inventory. So I'm very early in. Like I don't think I've even defeated like a boss of any kind yet. I've just been defeating like a mini boss. It's like the most I've done like in the world. Okay. But yeah, this hilarious. Like like it's like one of those games that you can like very quickly like switch between the original graphics and the new graphics. Oh my god!
You just press one button. Yeah.
Yeah. It's on G, which I always accidentally like because there's a load of random buttons. So if you press W, it switches weapons, which is terrible if you're a necromancer, because I then switch my weapon. That means I can have less summons out. Oh shit! I pressed W. That's the wrong button. And I was like, and I think F does something specific, and then like you need to, there's a load of buttons. It's like, why is there should be like a better unified like way to get to your character sheet, your inventory, and like your skills. Like, can it just be all one tab?
Because
That'd be so useful.
most of the people I know who've played that, I don't think I've met somebody who's gone, I've never played Diablo 2, I'm going to play Diablo 2 Resurrected. All of my friends are like, I'm a long-time Diablo fan, I used to play Diablo 2 as a kid, I'm going to play this.
Yeah.
Because they have the nostalgia for it. But for me, I've been like, well, because I just assumed that with Diablo 4 coming to Steam, they would just release this on Steam and I'll pick it up dirt cheap on Steam at some point.
I speaking of which, I had so many issues like re-logging into my Battle.net account. And it's just like, originally I tried to log in with like the password I have saved, like with my password manager. It's like, oh no, we can't log in. It's like, I think what happened is that it's been locked, but it doesn't tell you that. So it's like, okay, fine, I'll request a reset. I get the reset. It's like, okay, no, that's the wrong verification code. Like, okay, fine, that sometimes happens. So I got another one, put that in, reset the password to the same old password. So I didn't really bother to like update all of the settings on that. So then it's like, okay, now you have to log in. It's like, oh no, we don't trust you. You need to like have a verification code. It's like, why? I don't understand. Like, why are you only sending it to my email address? Like, I set it up to use the authenticators. It's just it was being very weird. Like, every time I logged in, I had to like email authenticate.
Well, I remember one time I actually lost access to the authenticator because my phone died, and I had to send Blizzard a photo of my passport in order to get them to remove the authenticator from my account. So you can have issues with that stuff.
I think I remember setting it up where I have like both email and authenticator. And I've always in the past used the authenticator. Like I still have, despite not logging into like Battle.net for like 3 years or maybe longer. I still have the authenticator on my device, and I remember having to update it to the new one because the old one was being discontinued or whatever was going on with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, Diablo, I'm only like a couple of hours in, and it's like I've just been like I completed like the first quest dungeon sort of thing, which isn't very big. Then there's like, I found a mini boss and defeated that in the actual world.
What are you playing then? Like Necromancer, I'm guessing.
Necromancer, yeah.
Yeah.
Our friend was like, it's like I wasn't hacking and slash. It's like no, I'm letting my minions do it. It's like no, just get in there and click it. Like no. At the moment, I'm very mana starved. If I want to use anything other than summons, like the summons themselves, like really manage inexpensive. I just need to find bodies, and it's like just a one-off thing. But if I want to use an ability that isn't my weapon, it's very expensive. Well, I can't. It doesn't seem worth it.
Because I've played Necromancer in Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. Yeah. Do you have Corpse Explosion in Diablo 2? Because that is one of my favorite skills in any game. Is Corpse Explosion?
Yeah. I think so, but I'm not there yet. Okay. I'm not. I'm trying to get. I need to be level 12 before I get like magic skeletons or something, or like wizard skeletons I can summon. But I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. At the moment, as far as I can tell, there's only like 2 abilities I can have active at one time. I don't know if that increases with stats and skills or equipment later on. Because originally it looked like I only had 4 slots for like health and mana items, but that actually increased to 8 at the moment with the belt I equipped. So I don't know if it's like I can get more skills on my hotbar at once. I'll have to see.
What's your goal with Diablo 2? You just want to complete the main campaign sort of thing?
Yeah, just the main campaign. That's what I want to do. It's got a very loud intro cutscene. I thought it was interesting, but I have no idea what the hell's going on yet. Obviously they explain like the.
I can't believe you didn't start with Diablo 1. Tristram, yeah.
Yeah, Tristan.
That's where all the shit goes down.
Yeah, do they just like is it a different story each time that happens at the same place, or they just retake the same?
I think Tristram is the first place you enter in like Diablo 3. Okay. So
okay.
I think it's not in Diablo 4 Tristram. I don't think.
Okay. So that actually is somewhere else.
Tristram.
Okay, interesting. My big plan, like I don't know if I'm.
No,
I don't know. I guess I could ask you. It's like, but my initial plan was just like I'll finish 2, and then I'm maybe like if they all go on sale again, I'll pick up 4. But do you think it's worth picking up 3, or is I should skip 3?
I really like 3, but I've played a lot. Diablo 3 is the game I've played the most of in terms of all the.
Okay.
So out of Diablo 3 and Diablo 4, the ones I've played.
Okay. I might pick up 3 as well then. It's just the story.
3 is worth getting, and there's also the DLC Reaper of Souls for 3 is really worth getting as well.
I think that's always bundled anyway.
And if you want to play Reaper, there's specifically a DLC that lets you play the Reaper, the Necromancer class that was added to Diablo 3 later.
I think there's a big bundle for 3, so like I might just pick that up if it's I could still pick it up now actually because there's still Black Friday sale, right?
But you could, of course, just play my favorite class in Diablo 3, Witch Doctor, which I'm sad wasn't added to Diablo 4.
I actually like Witch Doctor. So
Witch Doctor's really fun.
I think I don't know. This is my thing. Is like if you play the campaign once, it's like you're only locked into like one class, and it's like, well, if you, I guess I could just like play one class again and then just like mess around with other classes. Is what I could do. I might do that just to see what they feel.
Because I still haven't played the DLC for Diablo 4, but I was like. Again, I'm kind of just like, maybe I should just wait for Diablo 4 to become so inexpensive. I'll just buy it again with the DLC on Steam instead.
Like, because
I can't be bothered with Battle. That literally the only thing I have installed on my computer on Battle.net is Hearthstone, so I can play Battlegrounds. And then
that's never coming. That's never come to Steam, is it?
I hope it will. It would make a lot of sense in terms of like player base. But again, it's like a trade-off, right? Because they've just, I don't know if you saw, but the Bazaar is actually in closed beta right now. You can actually play Reynad's game that he was working on for like 7 years or something. And what he's doing at the moment is if you basically buy the Founders Pack, you get early access. But it's going to be in an open beta in December, which I was like, oh, I'll check it out then. It's like because it's like an auto battler with items. So I was like, I love auto battlers now. So I'm very interested in trying it out. But they've launched with their own launcher, which I'm like, it's such you have to figure out the choice between the player base of Steam and not launching on Steam, but you also on Steam you have to give 30% of every microtransaction to Valve.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to just weigh them up together, right?
How does it work when like ESO like with their own like launcher thing? Like how does that work? So that you can buy stuff like in their game? Is like because it's connected to the Steam account, they sort of pay the. I assume it's a lesser cut because they negotiate.
I don't know the intricacies.
To Steam.
I think every single microtransaction you have in the game, Valve has to have a cut of. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it works. How does
Steam... I don't understand if it's DLC like on the store page. I could understand that, but I could see them like maybe like going, oh, if you do it in game using your servers, like that's different. But I don't know.
Steam is any cut of any transaction made through Steam.
Yeah, it's a little bit ambiguous to me.
So I'm not 100% sure.
No, I guess it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I guess they have to. There's probably still some business decision there, whether it's worth. I just like most things should be on Steam at this point. Like, it's just such a useful.
Well, especially if they have season passes, get them on Steam. So Tony, this week I have been playing. Are you finished talking about Diablo 2?
I concede.
I've been going back and playing some more Metaphor. I had a long break where I kept. It's one of those games where I'm like, you have to commit so much to even launch the game because I'm like, I know as soon as I launch it, I'm like, I'm going to be playing this for a solid hour before I can save. Sometimes they have actually made it.
One between saving, okay.
Well, it depends. So like the first dungeon, I think is like one of the longest dungeons in the game. So I'm like, because I'm playing some of the later dungeons now, and I'm like, oh, this isn't as bad as the first one. Because the first one, I was like, oh god, it's like 11 o'clock, and I'm locked into playing. Like I don't have a save point. They have done some nice quality of life stuff from playing Persona 3 Reload. So they do have these. They have more save points in between. So like, you can like go up to these cats, and then they will let you save your progress there, or go to Academia and change your classes. Right. So it's not so bad. But I've been playing a lot more. I'm still getting into it. Somebody said something where they're like, yeah, it wasn't until I played 20 hours that I really got into Metaphor, and I'm at like the 12 to 15 hour mark, I think, somewhere around there.
Right.
And
it is crazy that you could have RPGs that long before you get into it, though.
Well, I remember, like, I played Deathloop, the game, and I said, I legitimately was like, this game didn't click for me until like 17 hours into playing it. Like, there is games like that. Like,
yeah.
But like, I massively, because like with Persona, like immediately I was like, I'm in love with this game. But it's like with Metaphor, I'm still trying to get into because it's so different in terms of the universe. There's like brand new races, it's a brand new world, it's the United Kingdom of something. Because they always, whenever people talk about it, they go, it's the United Kingdom of, and I'm like, wait, this is the UK? What's going on?
Yeah,
I
it makes sense.
Very confused. Yeah, it's really good. It's much more gameplay focused, this game, Metaphor. Like, it's very like, I'm actually, whenever I go outside the game, I'm like, so this boss is weak to Pierce. So if and it's more about team composition. So it's like, because you can change your class on the fly as soon as you unlock like the healer to 10. You could, like, every time you go outside of a battle, you can. It's like the class system in Final Fantasy, where you can swap classes between your characters. So it's like, yeah, this guy's not the strongest as a warrior, but if I have a warrior and a knight in my party, this allows me to do this massive pierce move, which then lowers his defense, and I can stack lowering his defense, and then I can inherit a skill from a different class that I'm not using, but you can inherit skills from the ones that you've leveled up and played, and bring like 1 or 2 spells over, depending on their level. So it's like, I'll take Terra Conjure, which is like a spell that you get in all the Persona games. So I'll just keep buffing my attack and then just stacking defense minus on this guy and just destroy him. It's like in Persona, at least in Persona 3 Reload, I'm like, I want to get through the combat as quickly as possible. It's the least interesting part of the game. And I want to get back to the slice of life, like relationship stuff. Metaphor, I'm like, I want to get back to the combat stuff. And I'm like, I'm not that interested in walking around the town and training my like courage and wisdom. And I'm still confused what's going on. Is
that because like the interactions with NPCs are less interesting?
Okay, here's one thing I will mention. Metaphor has way less voice dialogue than Persona 3 Reload.
Oh, okay. Right.
And I think that's because, so I've kind of been spoiled. Persona 3 Reload has the most dialogue of any Atlas game ever made.
Right.
Where they added like every single like social link in Persona 3 Reload is fully voice acted, whereas random social links, or what were they called, relationship strengthening and Metaphor, that's all just text. There's no audio there. So I'm finding myself missing the voice acting a lot.
I really appreciate voice acting. So,
but there is still a lot of voice acting in Metaphor. It's just, if you compare it to something like Persona 3 Reload, there's a lot less in comparison because of...
Yeah.
I guess there's lots of like quality of life stuff in Metaphor. I'm like, oh, this is way better. Like the combat, they've really cooked here. Like, and a lot of stuff they've done, I'm like, this is a really good idea. And it's way more open. Like, you can literally travel around and go to different areas of the map, and that has an implication on time because there's travel time. We're gonna have to do a full Tangerine at Metaphor when I'm finished. I'll talk about
I do appreciate travel time and like being able to free. It's a pretty cool thing in RPGs when they do it right.
But I've started on what I think is the gauntlet without going into any spoilers. Like, there's a competition, and I've started. I'm on a giant airship right now. That's what's going on.
Okay.
I've been playing Supermarket Together, which is have you seen the rise of these like supermarket simulator games, trading card simulators?
Yeah. I've seen those two, but what's the Supermarket Together game?
It's a supermarket simulator, but you play it with your friends. And because my friend posted it on Discord, and he was like, "Oh, this game, we should play it." And I was like, "Yeah, this game looks like dog shit. I don't want to play it, but my friend Katie should play it 'cause she loves those games." And he was like, "Oh, I'm going to play it." And then I looked at the store, because I assumed it was like, "Oh, I don't want to buy this game." And I looked at the store page, and it was like free to play. And I was like, "Well, you got me. It's free. I'll try it."
That's how they get you.
So basically, I'm just watching Diablo 2 gameplay at this point. Maybe I should start pulling up
I'm-
the store page of
Oh,
the
possibly,
games
yeah.
I'm talking about. I'll think about that next time. Having that set up beforehand, because it's better for visuals. But anyway, it's essentially like you basically run a supermarket, but the way we set it up, we just all had our own sort of jobs. So like my friend Andy, Katie, and Laura, they were doing like the checkouts. They had a mini game where they had to like give people change and scan people's items. Then my friend Martin and Jesse, they were basically stock control. So they were like ordering everything in and then putting it on the shelves. And then I was like, I'm going to do the job of security, because as security, you get a broom. And if someone tries to steal something, you have to whack the shit out of them.
Okay.
So that's what I was doing. I was like, basically, and then I was doing like odd jobs. Basically, until recently, you didn't really have too much to do with security, because if people would steal more if they were waiting in line and getting bored, and then they were like, okay, I'm going to just walk out without paying. So if you had lots of people on checkouts, then people wouldn't be stealing. But they actually did a security update recently where they added CCTV and surveillance desk. So you can actually get CCTV cameras that you can put up that will increase the thievery chance, which is good if you're playing like single player. But then if you have like a surveillance guy like me, they've added a new surveillance desk where you can place cameras, and basically if I go on the surveillance desk, I have a mini game where I can click on customers and discover if they're thieves, and
makes sense.
they will not steal and they'll be forced to check out and leave the store, sort of thing. So I'm like, yeah, that's because I think from playing the security role of this multiplayer game, I'm like, it's basically the most boring one. You basically don't have anything to do if you're running like dedicated security, which I was just like, whacking random people on the street and then just trying to trap people in jails. I was basically just these sort of like multiplayer games. You're more like role playing, right? It's just like I walked across the street and I was pretending to run the hot dog stand that was over there.
Right.
Because I was like, well, if people aren't stealing, there's not much to do. I was like trying to incentivize customers to steal because then I'd have something to do,
Yeah. Well, how are you incentivizing it?
Just talking to them, just role playing.
Okay.
And we have I've been playing the Half-Life 2 anniversary update, which we'll talk about in a bit. And I've shown you the progress that I've been making on Half-Life 2, because one of the things they added for Half-Life 2 was they added workshop support, and it's because they've merged all of the Half-Life games into one now, so they're all under one branch of Episode 1, Episode 2, and Half-Life 2, and then Lost Coast as well there, which you asked me what Lost Coast was, and I was like, it's kind of like a weird HDR tech demo, I guess. It's the best way to describe it. It's like one level. It's a HDR tech demo, basically. And I was like, workshop support. All these. I saw everyone uploading, like, you remember when I played Half-Life 2 VR and people were like 4K textures, improved weapon models, which are like huge when you're looking at them up close in VR. It really helps. Everyone was like porting over like the Half-Life Alyx models and stuff. What I did immediately was like, how do I create the most cursed version of Half-Life 2 by like trying to make the game unrecognizable. We'll have to create like a Tangerine video where I show you my cursed version of Half-Life 2, but I've basically been trying to make it like as many meme mods as, like, for example, I have the Skibbity Toilet Male Citizen, and I have Dracula Flow, the meme. I have Breen reciting that script as the Dracula Flow guy onside the tannoy. My SMG is a cat that you stroke to reload. Like, I've been testing out and using a lot of cursed mods, and once my Magnus Opus is complete, I will show it to you.
What about the mirror image map sort of thing? Like,
the one that breaks my brain. That's sort of like its own mod because that's like replacing every map. We talked about it before, but
okay, right.
I think one that is like a cheap and easy way to make it really unrecognizable is there's a mod that replaces every single texture in the game with Soggy Cat.
What?
This image of the Soggy Cat replaces every single texture in the game. I tried this, and it was like really unrecognizable and very strange, but it also like I wanted to go in and tinker individual mods sort of thing. This is
I think
more like a blanket mod.
Yeah. I think individual textures, like for individual, like I want this to be this stupid.
Or
thing,
there's another great mod
has more impact.
Where a guy replaced every single sound with his voice. He just voice acts all of the sounds.
Oh yeah. Those are good ones.
Sounds. Let's see if I can find it.
Oh, I think you.
This is my bug bait, by the way.
It's so annoying. Yeah, it's so annoying.
There's another one I had before. It's the Lego pizza. That's another one that I was thinking about doing.
Well, I think the intro is like I like just the G-Man intro.
Go fuck yourself. Because I have Dracula Flow. Oh, this video's been age restricted. Here we go. Look at this intro video.
Welcome to City 17. You have chosen.
I don't know if you're watching in. If you're watching on there.
Yeah. I've seen
Leave the fucking city now. Get back on that fucking train and go back where you fucking came from,
it's good.
assholes.
So yeah, somebody's uploaded that as a mod to the workshop. I'm basically just like, as somebody who's played Half-Life 2 like at least 20 times, I'm like, right, how do I break this game in a way where it's just unrecognizable to me with brain rot memes, you know? Which I'm like, yeah, that's my goal right now. And then I've also been playing Fast Penguin with 3 A's. I was literally playing this like an hour ago, or like a couple of hours ago. It's pretty fun actually, though. It's essentially like a free-to-play like Fall Guys sort of game, but it has like an actual like. I was streaming this on Discord, and my friend Calvin's like, "Why does this game like low-key have like a good sense of like fluidity and momentum to it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it kind of does." But yeah, it's essentially like penguin surfing Fall Guys, I would say. I thought it was pretty fun, but it's definitely like very sparse of content, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just free to play, and I was like, fuck it, I'll try it.
Yeah, sure.
So those are games I've been playing. I've watched Alien 4 Resurrection, which it was a lot better than Alien 3, I would say. Alien 3 was sort of a slog, whereas Alien 4 is a lot more... has more B-movie vibes. You get like Winona Ryder and... Who else did you get? What's his name? The guy from Hellboy.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the name of that actor? 2004, not David Harbour for the new... Ron Perlman, that's his name. Ron Perlman, you get him. I watched... Because we finished Alien 4, and then we were like, oh, now we need to watch... the Alien vs. Predator, but we haven't seen the Predator films. So now we watched Predator, and I thought Predator was pretty good. There was immediately, Tony, the film starts with, "Dylan, you son of a bitch," with the muscle handshake. Between Arnie and Carl Weathers, which is just fucking great. And there's just so many lines like, you know, "You ugly motherfucker." And,
it gets quite a lot.
"If it bleeds, we can kill it." But yeah, one thing I really appreciate is like the original Alien uses a lot of practical effects, and it really holds up. Like Alien is a really good film to this day. Predator uses like a lot of like... it still uses practical, but like the thermal vision of the Predator has not aged anywhere near as well as like Alien, for example.
Oh yeah, sure.
Generally good. And then
I still find it iconic, but yeah, it definitely it could be improved.
And then I watched Predator 2, and I knew nothing about Predator, Tony. This might be one of my favorite films I've watched in terms of like all of the films I've watched recently. I love Predator 2. This is the best B movie I've ever seen. It is so fucking strange. They went from like, oh yeah, a couple of years, there's a bunch of military guys in the jungle too. Oh yeah, by the way, we got Danny Glover. Let's make it a weird buddy cop film in the middle of like a dystopian LA where there's just gang warfare everywhere. The set designers and the interior decorators for this film just went wild. They just absolutely cooked. They just were like, yeah, these guys are like this Jamaican gang and they're just going to have these crazy drips. And there's like, oh yeah, the Colombian gang, they would have like, he would be in a bedroom where there's just like these giant Aztec like structures everywhere and stuff like that. This film is fucking hilarious. I love this film. I also finished season 1 of Mushishi, Tony. So I have watched every episode of season 1. Yeah.
Okay.
26 episodes. And I've started watching season 2. So I have been watching, I think I've watched like the first like 4 episodes of season 2, which came out like 10 years later in like 2014, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So for season 1, I was watching the dubbed one, the dub version, because the dub was pretty good for season 1 of Mushishi, but season 2 doesn't have a dub, so I'm watching the subbed version. No, they dubbed the season 1, but they never bothered to dub season 2, which is a shame, because I think Ginkgo has a really good voice in the dub version. And then also, it's like Doctor Who or Star Trek, where it's episodic, so almost every single episode you're interacting with different characters. So there's the only character that really matters is Ginkgo, because he's the only character you hear regularly. But yeah, it's such a blast of the past in terms of you just don't see episodic television anymore. Like, so much television is just, it is completely narrative arc.
You don't get movies effectively.
But yeah, I like Mushishi. I don't think it's my favorite show. Is this one of your favorite shows, or is there...
I quite like it. I wouldn't.
It's good.
Yeah, I quite like it. It's not my favorite. For me personally, I put it as very good.
Right. Yeah, I do think it is good. It's quite like heavy. Like, I did start to watch it like more like I'll watch an episode while I'm eating lunch. If I was going to just like compare it to a show, it would be like, it's kind of like paranormal Star Trek is the best way I could describe it. It's about because or Doctor Who, because it's essentially about a traveler who is kind of a stranger to everyone, doesn't really have a home, and their job is just to go around and sort of help people with their problems in like philosophical or spiritual ways, sort of thing. Yeah.
Because he has the knowledge of like this realm that a lot of people do not have.
The thing I love about the show is like Ginkgo never uses combat, and he tries to never kill or harm anyone, sort of thing. It is very much that
he's trying to let
there's this episode in season 1 where it's about this woman who writes down the name of Mushis. Mushis are like the spirits inside the show. And she keeps getting people coming up to her, telling her about how they've killed Mushi, and she has to write down. It makes her depressed. And Ginkgo comes up and he's like, well, I had this crazy time with this Mushi, and I saved them. I saved this Mushi. And she's like, oh, so you're not going around killing all the Mushi. He's like, why would I? Why do humans deserve to live over Mushi, sort of thing,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a good show. But it's not my favorite. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I still like it. I still think it's a good show.
Yeah, I still recommend people to at least try it, because it's so episodic, you'd be like, dude, you like this one episode, you don't need like to...
Did you watch
stuff that's more explained, but like you can just watch one episode and like tell if you like it or
not.
Did
you watch the show I recommended, Tony? Did you watch Kids on the Slope?
I have not yet. I've not been doing anything. I've been doing weird other stuff. I've not been having any time to really do anything. I mean, I did Diablo 2, I suppose.
You know what else I've been watching, Tony? I've been watching You Are My Servant, which is not good, but it's the kind of trash that I like.
What the? Okay.
I've been trying to like watch more shows that are coming out like now, like this season, sort of thing. So right now, I'm watching You Are My Servant every week. I'm watching Dan to Dan, which is still really fucking good. My brother also watches that, I think I mentioned. Then I'm watching Orb, which I thought you might be interested in. It's essentially the anime version of 15th century Europe, where people go, what if the world revolved around the sun? And the church is like, I'm going to fucking kill you if you say that.
Yeah. I've got it written down to watch some of these things.
Blue Box, which is like sports anime / romance anime about badminton and basketball. And then what else do I watch? 365 Days to Wedding, which is essentially a romance anime that's not set in a high school. It's about adults who work at a travel agency, which is why I really wanted to watch it. And I think I'm hate watching the show at this point because I don't like the show.
Right.
But I'm like, I want it to be good so bad, but it just keeps disappointing me every week.
Right.
Tony, just to give you a quick taste of what this show is, it's essentially there's a guy who gets a knock on his door, and this woman comes up to the door and she's like, can you please let me be your servant? I was formerly an assassin and I killed a bunch of people, but somebody recommended I be your servant. And he's like, yeah, okay. Because she like kind of saves him in the first episode. And then like the entire show is like how he's warming up this cold assassin's heart. It's trash,
right.
But it's the trash I like, you know?
Okay. It's not something I normally like go out and watch. So I think I've heard of this before. Like I recognize.
I'm sure there's probably a manga it's based. This like literally is coming out now.
Yeah, there must be. I've heard of like that. Maybe it's the premise I've heard of. I don't know. I've heard like something like this before. Like it seems very familiar.
Okay. And then, of course, I've also watched the 2-hour documentary on Half-Life 2. So is there anything you're more interested in hearing about that I haven't already talked about?
Well, I think maybe we should talk a little bit about the Half-Life 2 documentary.
Yeah, sure. Let me pull it up. I think it's on Valve's YouTube channel.
Yeah, I saw it. That's where I saw it. Well, that's where I saw it. I've not watched it. I saw the video pop up.
So, Tony, one of the big things about this documentary is they actually talk about Half-Life Episode 3 in this documentary, which I was like, holy shit, I was not expecting them to do that. Like, right at the end, they show, like, Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I can't sort of... Is my internet dying or something? Are you still here?
I'm still here. Is it just YouTube?
Good. Yeah, I don't know. 360p, that's my quality. But yeah.
I think it's just the players bought because you're still like 0-0.
Turn it up to 11. But give me that 1440p shit. Here we go. Here's some stuff. There's some there's some crazy wild stories going on. Maybe it's like my ad blocker fucking shit up or something.
No, maybe, but I've had a lot more issues with it as well recently.
But some like big revelations are like during the development of Half-Life 2. Like I highly recommend like just watch this documentary. Like it's a breeze, 2 hours. It's if you're somebody like me who's obsessed with Valve or even just it's just a great video game documentary in general. I'd highly, especially the Half-Life 1 documentary is really good as well. Like I recommend no-clip documentaries in general. Really good video game documentaries. But some of the stories that came out are wild. Like the Valve had like a contract with Sierra at the time when they published Half-Life 1, and then eventually the contract was also if they wanted to make a Half-Life 2 as well. They renegotiated their contract with them, and then they basically got this new deal where they got the rights back to Half-Life, and they were making Half-Life 2. Then they found out that Vivendi, the vendor, I think it's like a subsidiary or someone underneath Sierra, or like their conglomerate, like their big brother company, was redistributing Half-Life copies or like Counter-Strike they were using Half-Life IPs in like PC bongs in Korea, and they were like, oh, this violates our our service because we have the rights back to Half-Life. So they sent like a lawsuit to Vivendi, and then Vivendi was like, "Oh, we're a massive, multinational like company. We're gonna fucking sue the fuck out of all of your employees and basically bankrupt you out of money, so you stop suing us." Basically,
the bully technique, effectively.
Yeah. They went after like Gabe Newell personally. They went after Gabe Newell's wife personally. They went after they basically sued everyone. And to a point where Gabe Newell was like, I was literally like, he said to my lawyer, "Do I need to put my house on the market?" And he was like, "Yes. If you want to keep fighting this, you're going to have to put your house on the market." Like, Valve almost went bankrupt fighting this lawsuit against Vivendi. And you know what's crazy is Vivendi sends them all these non-transcribed receipts from their legal team where they're basically like, "Oh, so this is everything we've done with PC bongs in Korea," because they send them all this stuff in Korean, right? And they're like, there's no way they're going to be able to go through all this because none of them are going to be able to translate this through Korean. Turns out one of the interns that's working at Valve at the time speaks Korean. So he goes through all of this stuff and he finds this key piece of evidence where he basically just goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, this right here says, by the way, we destroyed the Valve evidence like you told us to." And they were like, "Wait, they literally said that?" And he was like, "Yes." And they were like, "If we have to prove this in a court of law, how good is your Korean?" "Oh, I'm a fluent Korean speaker with a degree in Korean language." And they were like, "Holy shit." Like, the lawyer guy they had hired was like, "I've been working as a lawyer for a long time. I've never seen something like this, where you find a piece of evidence where they literally straight up admit to destroying evidence. Like, this is insane."
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, basically, they gave them this, and yeah, it was over. Like, people were making memes about, like Atlas holding up the globe, and it was random Korean intern working at Valve, the entire video game industry. Because at this point in Valve's history, they were going to make Steam and distribute games digitally, and every single person was like, "That's insane. People will never buy games digitally. They will only ever buy them at a retail store." Like, this was an insane turning point for video game history. And to think that if this one intern at Valve who spoke Korean hadn't have found that piece of evidence, Valve could have just gone bankrupt and we could have been down a completely different timeline. That is crazy. But yeah, this documentary is really fucking good. They go into like all of the inspirations for Half-Life. Like it literally starts at an Eastern European train station, which the train station from Half-Life 2 is inspired by, and all the architecture of Eastern Europe. They go into like the physics system, the road trips. Like, they even go into like the hack that happened. Do you remember about like the German guy who hacked into Valve and tried to get a job there, and then he worked with the FBI to catch him? That's a really fucking interesting story that happened during the development of Half-Life 2. And they even go into like key details of like Half-Life 3, Episode 3, where they were like, "Oh yeah, this would have taken place in Borealis, and you would have an ice gun that you could use to create walls of ice to protect against enemies, or you can even like ride it like Frozone or freeze enemies." And I was like, this shit sounds they had these weird blob enemies that you could fight in Half-Life Episode 3 as well.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
They just released these like I assume it's not together in any useful way, but just like release like the I don't know what you call it.
They gave
files.
They gave permission for NoClip to make the documentary on the Arcane Ravenholm game as like a video form, but they wouldn't allow them to release it in game form. I don't know, but if it was legal issues or whatever.
Yeah, possibly.
Just looking at this blob thing, I think I would hate to fight it. It just seems really annoying, but maybe, Valve was cooking something. Maybe the ice gun would have...
Maybe some
the fact that it could just go through grates and stuff is just fucking terrifying.
That's really cool.
But yeah, basically what Valve said was like, look, us as a company, we could just push the Half-Life story forward, but we never want to make a game that isn't like pushing technology and ideas forward. Like going from Half-Life to Half-Life 2 was such a huge technological leap that it was worth making a brand new game. And like you have stuff like Half-Life Alyx. The reason they made Alyx was because they wanted to push forward VR and that technology. Like if they made an episode 3, it wouldn't come out unless they had a goddamn good reason to make an episode 3. And they said, well, you know, we totally could have released episode 3, but then you wouldn't have got a Left 4 Dead. You wouldn't have got like, you know,
but I kind of see that as like it would just push it back. It wouldn't necessarily like block it because there's a big period like between like Half-Life Alyx. Like, what did they do before Half-Life Alyx? Like, what was the previous thing that came out that wasn't
Artifact? There's Dota Underlords was before or after?
Yeah.
There's Dota 2, Portal 2 would have been in between. Left 4 Dead 2 might have been in between. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
When
but between like Portal 2 and like and Alex, there's like a big gap of like not much.
Episode 2 came out in 2007.
Right.
So there's a lot of games like.
But Portal 2 came out 2010.
I'm going to pull up Wikipedia now so I can double check. But I think TF2 came out after, I think. Yeah, so they wouldn't have been able to work on Portal, TF2, The Orange Box, Left 4 Dead 2, Alien Swarm, Portal 2, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Dota 2, The Lab, Artifacts, Dota Underlords, Half-Life Alyx, Aperture Desk Job, Counter-Strike 2, Deadlock. Like, this is all the stuff that was that is out now because they didn't spend time working on something else.
I would still argue there's a huge gap after Portal 2 and like yes, they had teams like Counter-Strike and stuff and I guess Dota, but like I don't see that stopping other stuff.
I see what you're saying. Like it could have just pushed the schedule back.
Yeah, it's like Portal 2 comes out in 2013 instead.
But basically, they said, look, we were more interested in. We really liked multiplayer games, and Valve didn't really have that many multiplayer. We wanted to work on stuff like TF2 and Left 4 Dead. And Aliens. And Counter-Strike Global Offensive. We wanted to push forward multiplayer stuff, and that's why we decided not to make episode 3 because we couldn't give value to the player. We'd just be pushing the game forward, and ultimately they didn't want to work on it. They wanted to push other stuff.
Yeah, sure. I just think a lot of other studios like would try like we'll try and make a team like just for this because like there are fans who really want it. It's just that obviously that's not how Valve works.
It's just not how Valve works because they literally said, "Yeah, we could make it, but you know, we want to give people, you know, more than just pushing forward the story." But I think a lot of Valve fans would be like, "We just want the story pushed forward."
Yeah, Even like a small thing of like we added like a small thing that isn't like a major tech upgrade or any major in addition to the gaming series, be fine.
Well, we do
especially if it's like an episode.
We do have so many rumors of. Well, the problem is when they made episode 1, they were like, okay, we're going to make smaller games. It's going to be easier to make, cheaper. We're going to be able to, you know, make this, and then this will allow us to make more stuff. But it took them a really long time to make episode 1, and then they kept adding more and more stuff to it, and they weren't able to stop feature creeping themselves.
Yeah, a classic.
Because up until recently, like episode 1 and episode 2 on completely different versions of the source engine because they kept improving things over time.
Right.
But yeah. Highly recommend this documentary about Half-Life 2. It is very interesting. Like, did you know, for example, a lot of the faces on Half-Life 2 were like photo scanned in, and like for example, Eli Vance, one of the most recognizable faces in gaming, was a random homeless guy they took a photo of for a couple of $100. They were like, he had a sign up saying, "I will work for money," and they were like, well, at the time we were offering like a couple of $100 to anyone who wanted to get their face scanned for the game, and nobody to this day knows what happened to him.
Right?
Isn't that's kind of crazy?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to.
We never know.
But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Let's move on to the news. We have Where's Warcraft Remastered? I think I accidentally closed this one. We got a Warcraft announcement, which is basically because there's no BlizzCon this year, but they announced a bunch of Warcraft stuff that was happening and other non-Warcraft stuff because they also announced like Overwatch stuff. So I guess it was just kind of BlizzCon online in a sense.
Yeah.
But they announced that Warcraft 1 and 2 are getting remastered and they're out now. It was sort of like a stealth drop. So you can play like I guess you would call them, would you call them pixel remasters? I guess the kind of remaster of the pixel art. I have zero nostalgia for like Warcraft 1 and 2. I've never played them and I'm not a big RTS guy. Like even somebody who has massive nostalgia for Warcraft 3, I struggled going back and playing the campaign of Warcraft 3 because I'm just so out of the RTS kind of mindset.
Yeah. These are like older style of games as well. So
yeah. I think they did do an update for Warcraft 3 as well. Yeah, they did like graphical updates because they made it so you could either switch between the updated changed environments, so like up-resed versions of the original assets if you prefer those, and you can customize between them, which I think was really cool. So they did they have been like doing some good stuff. Like the Diablo 2 remaster was good. They've gone back and they've added like they've improved the Warcraft 3 remaster, and they've also done these remasters of 1 and 2. What are your thoughts on the visuals of the remaster of Warcraft 1 and 2? I think it definitely looks clearer, but it definitely like it kind of reminds me of like Farmville sort of in a way, like kind of the shininess and kind of.
But was it always like that and just the pixels kind of hid it? But I guess like I'll just try to keep the pixels personally.
I don't know. Tony, after 20 long years, World of Warcraft is finally getting player housing in its newest in its coming expansion, Midnight expansion, and I'm just like, didn't the Warbirds of Darnassus literally add play? Like, because people are like, oh, garrisons didn't count. It was garrisons with player housing, and it fucking sucked. Like,
yeah, it's definitely player housing.
Okay, I get what you're gonna say. That you couldn't like fully customize it, like. So the way garrisons work is you had like a set layout of like a castle, and then you could choose to build different buildings, but you couldn't like, it wasn't like The Sims. You couldn't go in and individually place like furniture. People are saying this is different because this gives you a lot more customization and stuff, but I'm like, even then, like,
does that mean it'd be less detailed though?
Even then, I'm like, is this what people really want? Like, one of the biggest complaints about Warlords of Draenor was having garrisons completely killed capital cities, where everyone would go and meet up in the capital cities together, and then people, as soon as they got garrisons, would just sit in their garrisons by themselves, not interacting with anyone. So I don't know.
I would personally think they should be like player house. Like I don't know how you do it because you have to reform the cities, but like have a portion of like you. I don't know how it would work with loads and loads of people in a world, right? But like have the houses actually appear in the city, like have a small plot. Again, I have no idea how that works, but I think that make it more feel integrated.
I haven't touched WoW since BFA, which means I haven't played Shadowlands, Dragonflight, or the War Within. But
oh my god, that many.
Yeah, the War Within just came out like a couple months ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think it was August, maybe it came out, or September. I thought the new flight system in Dragonflight looked kind of cool, but other than that, player housing is not going to make me come back to WoW. Nothing else really makes me want to come back to WoW. So I'll keep waiting for WoW expansions because eventually there'll be something that drags me back in. They usually, I really liked Legion. That was one of my favorite expansions in WoW. So if there is something that hooks me, then I might come back to WoW at some point.
Have we got 2 more expansions of like the big ones they announced left? Then it's like I can't remember how.
Yeah, because they
called them now.
They got like Chris Metzen back, right? And then they were like, and we're going to be doing this and this and this, and they announced a bunch of expansions all at once, and I was like, this is fucking confusing.
This is at the lowest hype for the game, so
They announced Overwatch Classic, which is the original version of Overwatch 2 with 6 players. You can play it again, but not only that, they were like, we're also going to be making it as the original game in 2016. So there's no limit on hero picks, so you can pick all the same hero. We have all the old abilities for the characters, all the broken interactions, that got changed for a reason. I might be in the minority because I feel like ever since I wonder if there's no way they'll call him Jesse again, right? He'll be called Cassidy still because of reasons, but
for sure.
Symmetra, I'm just looking back. Symmetra used to have a TP. Cassidy could stun people with his grenade. Then what else? Torbjorn would throw armor to teammates. That's something that doesn't exist anymore. I think what's gonna I have an unpopular.
But why not a later patch?
You could upgrade your turret as Torbjorn, and it would have rockets. I forgot about that.
But my question is, why can't it just be the final patch of Overwatch 1? Why is it the original launch? I assume this is the launch patch, effectively, with all the why is that what they
they're
chose?
playing because they're playing on nostalgia. They're like, guys, people loved Overwatch when it came out in 2016 was one of the it won so many Game of the Year awards. I thought Overwatch in 2016 was one of my favorite games of the year. I absolutely loved Overwatch.
3 years after, I think it was still relevant.
That being said, is Blizzard a company that only exists on nostalgia anymore? We have
at this point,
many classics now. We have WoW Classic, Overwatch Classic. They're remastering the Diablo games, the Blizzard game. When was the last original Blizzard game?
Overwatch?
Yeah, it might be, right? 2016.
I think it is.
I
don't know, I guess technically, the new expansions for WoW are technically new, right?
Yeah.
But
they haven't worked on a new IP in a long time.
No.
The people who do like them, but I would say for the most part, the general.
I thought overall, the player base has gone down from it, right?
The problem is WoW Classic and WoW Retail are incredibly different games to a point where there's completely different audiences for them. The fact that they added this insanely expensive store mount. Did you see about the new store mount in WoW that costs £50 or something?
What? If that'd be I don't know. I shouldn't say it'd be the best thing ever, but even then, that's too much money. But you better get an actual statue through the door.
It essentially gave you the ability to. It was $90. How much was that in pounds then?
What the hell?
Let me visit the UK. It's £60 mount, Tony.
Oh my god!
But the thing
why don't
is,
you just buy 2 indie games?
The thing is, it was a FOMO mount because it allowed you to access the auction house from anywhere in the game on a mount. And it also allowed you to have a mailbox as well, which I think is basically I think that there is a mount in the game that you can purchase with. It's one of the most expensive mounts in the game that costs 2 million gold that you can purchase with gold, but it gives you an auction house. But this one has a mailbox on it, which I believe is the first for any mount in the game. And basically they're like, there's this new mount. It'll be available for a couple of months. Then in January, we're going to remove it from the store. So literally everyone in the game has gone out and purchased it because they're like, well, if I don't purchase this OP mount, I'll not have access to it anymore. And I think that just goes to show you the kind of people who still play retail are just they're just willing to accept anything at this point.
Yeah, that sucks though. Don't feed the beast.
Would I play this? Maybe. I don't know. My hot take is I actually prefer 5v5 to 6v6 in Overwatch.
I've seen some discussions on this. I seem to be a lot of people online really prefer 6v6.
Yeah, which I must be the minority because I just massively prefer increased player agency of 5v5, like this single player agency.
Yeah, but I think the thing I saw is like they didn't like the fact like if your tank sucked, they liked the fact that like 2 tanks. But I don't know, it made it like less stressful for them. I saw
My
some
issue
people
with
say.
2 tanks is it just is going to massively increase time to kill. Because you're going to have another tank who can
Yeah.
shield and heal and basically tanking damage.
I saw people say they liked that because it gave them more things to do to like, try and counter stuff. But
as somebody who's like a DPS player, I just like killing shit.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Mercy
I
could
guess-
res an entire team with her ult. I forgot about that, bro. That was so
That
annoying.
is insane. So it's an area though, I suppose, but I guess they will die the same area. Oh god. Yeah. I feel like I've seen
You
people
can't
that
leave
talk about it,
Mercy
they wanted like
alive.
they wanted the final patch of the original or
I would
Overwatch
not.
1,
I
not
would
the
not
OG.
want the final patch because the
Okay.
final patch was when the game was the most like shield, barrier, shield,
Oh,
shield.
right.
That's when I didn't want to play the game. I'm more likely to play
Maybe
this
it's
version of
the
Overwatch
mid-patch?
Classic than I
Okay.
am of the one of the later patches. But that's just me because I
I
don't
wonder if
really
this
care that
becomes
much
its-
about Overwatch at this point.
Yeah, I wonder if this can become its own beast, like WoW Classic, where it's like we want these, like the player base that then actually decides to like stick with this. And go, we want these changes, and then eventually they'll add those changes that were never existed before, but they're completely different to Overwatch.
One of the comments says I can already hear the kill the Mercy. Where's the Mercy? I still every time I see a Mercy, I have PTSD. I'm like, if we don't kill this fucking Mercy, she's gonna res the entire team. We have to kill Mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll. When does this come out? November 12th. It came. It's already out, guys. I've completely missed this. It must be dog shit. That's my 2 cents. I don't know.
I've
Maybe
not
I'll
seen
play
anyone
this.
talk about any of these games. I've not seen anyone talk about the Warcraft expansion. I've not seen this anyone talk about. So
Mm.
I'm not in those spheres, but like normally, like back in the heyday, like Blizzard stuff like overspilled like in just general gaming knowledge.
I think
now like it just seems to be its own thing.
The problem right now is Classic. WoW Classic is way more popular than retail, especially now. I don't know if you've seen, but all of the Twitch streamers have got together now and they're doing another run of Hardcore WoW. So pretty much every big Twitch streamer right now is playing Hardcore WoW Classic.
But why decide to do it now if they're excited for the expansion? Like I feel like if the expansion was better, that wouldn't happen, or the timing wouldn't be the same.
I'm not sure on the timing, but they decided to change it up this because they went Alliance last time. Now they're doing Horde. But not only that, when they first did it, they basically were receiving like trades from random people, and they basically got carried a lot through it because people would just trade them like $1 billion gold and like the best items in the game. This time they're only allowed to trade with guild members, so you can't get boosted up by other people. There's no mob tagging. They're like, everyone made fun of us last time because they said we got carried. We're just going to try and do it legit this time. Another cool thing as well is they've got this new add-on where they've added proximity voice chat to WoW. So
that's cool.
When they come up near somebody else in the world, it will like let you talk to them over the microphone, which I know you're a fan of proximity voice chat. I think it's pretty cool,
especially when they just like random shit comes out of the other side.
Especially when Forsen's streaming PUBG. By the way, where the fuck is Forsen? He's been gone for 3 weeks and nobody knows where he is. I'm so upset.
He's dead.
He literally, his last stream, he was like, I'm gonna go away for 2 weeks. Not sure when I'd be back. I'll see you guys. And then he never came back. I'm still waiting for Forsen to come back. He'd be straight on this hardcore WoW meta. He'd be grinding. He wouldn't. He'd be playing some dog shit game. We got a Hearthstone Battlegrounds announcement, Tony, that we're going to be getting pay to win as a brand new mechanic for the new season.
That's his full name, isn't it?
Yeah. Now I'm a big Battlegrounds fan, and they added so Blizzard accidentally made a game that was incredibly free-to-play friendly. They remedied this by adding a Battle Pass feature, which let you have 2 additional heroes to select from every time you start the game. And there's a lot of discrepancy between heroes because a lot of heroes are stronger than others, or they're not as interesting to play as others. Then I was like, okay, that's kind of teetering on pay to win. Whatever, I can buy it with gold. Then they were like, by the way, the Battle Pass can now only be purchased with runestones, a brand new currency you can only buy with microtransactions. I was like, okay, that fucking sucks, but I guess I'll keep playing. And I'll just be free to play and just choose from 2 heroes. Then they were like, so normally when they announce a new Battleground season, they're like, there's a new mechanic. So last Battleground seasons, we had trinkets, which let you purchase new like abilities in the game. It was quite interesting. This season, they were like, and the new mechanic is the ability to buy rerolls of your heroes. Our most requested feature is you wanted more control over play direction. So Tony, they have this thing now where you can reroll a hero that you get selected with a reroll token, which doesn't sound like a malicious idea immediately, but these reroll tokens cost money to buy, microtransaction money.
It's not
you will get access to, I think, about 8 of them for free in the free Battle Pass, but they're replacing cosmetics that you were getting for free in the free Battle Pass. Okay. And not only that, Tony, when they're consumed. So as soon as you use those 8 tokens, you no longer have the ability to reroll tokens. But don't worry, Tony. You thought the idea of purchasing a battle pass to get 2 extra hero slots was bad enough as pay to win. If you buy the more expensive battle pass, you get 1 free reroll per game. So you can literally...
You can always choose a very powerful one and not get...
So not only do you get access to more heroes, you get access to re-rolling a hero because you've paid more money than everyone else. Which I'm just like, bro, this...
Are there still like heroes? There's still heroes that are like underpowered?
Yeah, and there's also heroes that are really... They have this armor system. They know that there's heroes that are underpowered because they had to implement a armor system to give more health to heroes that are less powerful than other heroes. So heroes that are more powerful have less armor. So they die quicker.
Yeah, okay.
And they added the armor system so they could adjust that on the fly, sort of thing. Basically, what they're saying is, look, a bunch of heroes were really weak, so we wanted to give you the ability to pay us money to not play the weak heroes because that's what you wanted. To which
instead
people,
of fixing the weak ones.
which people are saying, look, you could have just, I don't know, buffed the shit heroes or made them more interesting, and then we wouldn't have needed a reroll system. Or God forbid, you just give everyone the same amount of choices. I think the problem is Blizzard's not making enough money on Hearthstone, and nobody wants to play Constructed compared to Battlegrounds for the most part. There's definitely a dedicated core player base for Constructed, but when it comes to optics like Twitch, Battlegrounds is the dominant thing people stream on Twitch. Like everyone's, at least from what I understand, is because we don't know exact numbers of what people are playing. Nobody plays fucking, what was that game mode called? Mercenaries. They're like Clash of Clan game mode they tried to make. No one wanted Mercenaries. Because that was going to be their big cash cow where they could be like, let's get a bunch of whales to play Mercenaries. It did not work. No one plays it. People are sick and tired of Constructed. Hearthstone Battlegrounds is really fun, but it's really free to play. And they want to make it less free to play.
I don't know. I just feel like if you just released expansions for it, I don't know how you do that in a fair way or in a non-stupidly paid way. But I don't know.
They tried cosmetics, and some people would buy them, but I think just not enough people. They gave me a free battle pass that had cosmetics on it, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna play the game because I enjoy playing the game. I don't need to purchase cosmetics.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like sometimes, bro.
Maybe just be released as a normal game instead of try and make it.
At
some point, I just feel like free to play doesn't work. But
you're done goof when Kriparian is making videos about how bad a Battleground season is. One of the most positive Hearthstone Battleground guys out there. Hey guys, how's it going here? Battleground's kind of fucked up this season.
It's been so long since I've heard that name and say, "Oh yeah, that guy."
I think he's actually been playing a ton of the Bazaar. He's been playing and streaming the Bazaar, and he said it's really fun.
Oh, okay. So that's cool.
I do want to check it out when it goes into open beta.
Yeah. Give some feedback.
Let's move on to announcements. Half-Life 2 anniversary update. We have the Secret Take documentary. I spoke about the Korean guy saving the industry and the Half-Life 3 update. So with this update, we have access to Half-Life 2 developer commentary. I have not played this yet because I've been shitposting on Half-Life 2. But I am planning on going and doing a Half-Life 2 playthrough where I just listen to all of the developer commentary. Because not a lot of people know this. Episode 1 and Episode 2 have developer commentary. TF2 has fucking developer commentary, but Half-Life 2 never had a developer commentary track, and they've gone back and remembered all the things they did when developing the game, and they've added developer commentary to Half-Life 2. Oh, Half-Life Alyx's developer commentary, which I've played through, which is really interesting.
Okay, that's cool. I think they're really cool features.
Some people have been uploading the developer commentary onto YouTube, so if you just want to watch the developer commentary, you can. But I always love excuses to go back and play through Half-Life 2. Like, literally every time... Like, I've played Half-Life 2 for 4 hours in the past couple of weeks. Not because I've been trying to do a Half-Life 2 playthrough, but because I've been going in and trying to test mods and then accidentally start playing Half-Life 2 again because I get distracted, just because it's such a really fun game. Steam Workshop support, obviously amazing feature. They've combined all the engines under one branch. Steam game recording with the native features for like deaths and explosions and stuff. They fixed bugs. They've rebalanced the lighting, cleaner, smoother horizontal lines, higher resolution light maps.
They fixed vehicles yet?
No, I was driving the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and then when I pressed the boost button, it was playing gas.
Yep.
And I was like, man, the vehicles in Half-Life 2 still fucking suck. And that's accurate. I'm glad they still fucking suck, because that's how they're supposed to handle. Like, it's not a remaster. It's a...
No, but there's any tweaks they could have done. I don't know actually what the problem is.
This is like a night dive patch where they just go, look, we're going to make it playable and everything, and we're going to keep it exactly the same. Slightly higher detail graphics, fix the bugs, make sure it runs and everything. Gamepad controls, aim assistance, like Steam Deck verification, fully updated. I installed the mod that let me kill random civilians, and I kept accidentally killing like NPCs I needed to progress to the next level, so I'd have to like open the console and cheat my way to the next level because I kept killing core NPCs. But yeah, there's like 3.5 hours of developer commentary to look at. Yeah. That's going to be interesting. I always find that I can't wait until I hear, I've been Gabe Newell. I can be reached at Gabe Newell at gaben at valvesoftware.com, and have fun.
Yeah.
Awesome to see. Then we have... Oh, speaking of classic games, Tony, as I'm talking about, maybe we're oversaturated with classic games. OG Fortnite is coming to Fortnite. Relive the classic battle royale from the start and explore the OG map, collect OG loot, and relive OG seasons. OG Fortnite when unironically I was very good at Fortnite, and then kids got really good at building, and I was like, I can't keep up. I'm really bad now.
So the thing seasons as if there's going to be like other seasons.
I guess because as Fortnite went on, the map changes, and I guess they'll change the map as it went on through the seasons.
Is it just be like a regular change? You
love to see Murky Moya down here with like the really boring area of the map with a prison next to it that had nothing on it, but you'd love it because it's just an OG, like Loot Lake that everyone would go to that had no loot, but it was called Loot Lake, so you thought it had a bunch of loot around it, you know. Go to Pleasant Parks and, you know, Tomato Town, the Tomato Town Killer, if you remember him. You know?
Yeah.
This is pre-Tilted Towers, right? I think Tilted Towers is not an OG area of the map. Yeah, it was added late. There's no Tilted Towers is such like a iconic place in like Fortnite these days, but it's like it didn't exist back then.
Does Smaller Town still exist in the current map?
I honestly I haven't looked at. The last time I played Fortnite was Fortnite Zero build, and there was just so much. I watched a trailer for new Fortnite skins, and it was like Eminem and Ice Spice were in the game, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, this game has just completely changed. Like,
yeah.
I'm interested to play Fortnite OG. It's December 6th. Fuck. I'm going to have to... Tony, I wanted to play Uno yesterday, and then I was like, fuck, I have to install Uplay on my new build of Windows. Yep. And then I'm like, I kind of want to play OG Fortnite, and I'm like, fuck, I have to install Epic. Which Epic's not as bad as Uplay, but just it just sucks having it on Epic. I had to install Epic online services to play that Penguin game I just played, and then I also need it for Fall Guys and Rocket League, so I'm gonna have to just bite the bullet at some point.
I mean, I'd put it on Uplay or whatever it's called now to play like anno stuff. So
yeah, it sucks. Stellar Blade has confirmed it's getting a PC port that is coming in 2025. Considering they basically said they considered recent trends such as Steam increase in the share of the AAA game market, and specifically called out the global success of Black Myth Wukong. We expect the performance on PC to be better than that of the console. So they're looking to improve the graphics and performance for the PC port.
I can't believe I was watching this. Like, just like they weren't gamers. They were just like saying that it's like, oh, I don't have like the newest console things. But back in my day, it would be like, oh, the only thing they'd be focused on is like the current console. But this time it's like, oh, I don't have a current console or a powerful enough PC. I was like, oh, that's now the stage we're in, where people like have like some sort of PC that they know PC gaming is a thing.
Like the younger generations, they only play games on their mobile phones and computers, like laptops and computers, because you're either playing like mobile games or you're playing like Roblox on a PC. Like I don't think Roblox is on consoles, if I understand correctly, and that's really popular with young kids.
Makes sense. Easy accessible, I guess.
And we've also got this Stellar Blade near Automata up.
Automata.
Yeah, I think because they now there's an update, and I think some of it's going to be paid DLC, and then like the photo mode and stuff is going to be a free update. Look, Near Tomato Stellar Blade fans liking androids with huge asses, shaking hands. Here we go.
The mods are going to be huge.
Did you know that the Stellar Blade model is actually modeled on a real Korean woman? Just to let you guys know. They took a bunch of 3D scans. Then we have Final Fantasy XIV is getting a mobile port.
What?
Final Fantasy XIV is coming to mobile. This is being ported by Tencent Game subsidiary Lightspeed Studios.
There are gaming phones now.
PUBG Mobile. My friend Calvin literally has a gaming phone, which I'm like, why the fuck?
I guess they're powerful enough for at least, so some scalability in the engine as well. That's all you need.
Lightspeed Studios is most well known for making PUBG Mobile. I looked them up because I was like, isn't Lightspeed Studios who did like the Portal RTX? But that's Nvidia Lightspeed Studios, to which I understand they are separate companies from what I understand. They're remaking the whole game for mobile. And again, like this is interesting because Final Fantasy is a Japanese company, and they've actually kind of been English first because they made the English dub of Final Fantasy 16 first. It was like the native dub for Final Fantasy 16, I believe. Like the lip sync was to the English voice acting. But it's being made by a Chinese company, so this is launching in China first, which I guess makes sense when you consider how big the mobile market is for China. I mean, it's pretty huge in Japan as well. Like console, other than like the PlayStation, I think like in Japan it is as well. Like mobile and PC are like super popular. And again, mobile and PC is super popular in China because of the fact that consoles were banned there for the longest time.
But like 10 years ago, like in Japan, I believe anyway, it's like people wouldn't really have PC gaming either. Like it was like mainly like you had a console, you didn't.
Yoshi P has confirmed it will start with Realm Reborn, which is not the original Final Fantasy XIV. So it is like one of the later points of the game, so it's not the OG Final Fantasy XIV. So it's gonna start with Realm Reborn, and then the expansions will come out. Like it's a fresh start, but it's a fresh start from Realm Reborn, and the game seems to be free to play and with no gacha mechanics. So I don't know, is it going to have a sub to play on the mobile version? Because that seems kind of crazy, a sub for the mobile version.
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume there'd be some sort of sub.
From what I understand about Final Fantasy XIV, you can play most of the game up to like the highest level for free, and then you have to sub.
I think you can play non-expansions for free. Yeah.
But yeah, interesting that they're we're getting to a point where like entire MMOs are coming to mobile, which is really interesting. But I guess like. Speaking of gacha games, aren't gacha games kind of just MMOs, but with predatory microtransactions? And then MMOs these days just have predatory microtransactions. Like a Genshin Impact is kind of like a MMO, right? Or like
I think so.
Wuthering Waves or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think those ones are, yeah. But I still think it's less. I don't know. I want to say it's like less people per server, but I don't actually know.
Because I feel like one of the closest MMOs we have to a gacha game is probably like Black Desert Online is kind of like a gacha MMO, right? Where it's very like microtransaction based and was like a really like Asian grindy MMO.
A lot of Asian grindy, like almost all of them are like that. Like
Lost Ark's kind of like this, but
yeah.
But
a lot of ones like I can't remember now, but Black Desert just is the most popular one of that sort of thing that came out after a lot of the other Korean and other like types of MMOs, but like they've all very gacha mechanics.
If you don't know what gacha is, it's basically games that gacha. They're trying to get your I think it's actually named after, is it Gachapon, which is a machine inside Japan that has like they're like little Pokeball. Like imagine like
I believe so.
What are they called? Kinder Buenos. It's like those little pods where you have like a little toy in them. They're called Gachapons because they're like you're essentially just spending money to try and get something good out of a pod.
Yeah, and it's complete bollocks most of the time.
I thought it was gacha because we gotcha, but it's actually gachapon, which is those machines that
because they've also gotcha.
Yeah,
and it's just a happy coincidence, I suppose.
GTA.
It's still gambling though, in my opinion.
I don't like gacha shit. GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition gets surprise update on console and PC that adds visual features that were exclusive to the mobile version. So, Tony, I played the mobile version of GTA, the Definitive Edition. I was like, why does this look better than the PC version? It turns out they actually made the mobile version technically better than the Definitive Edition on PC and console. They've then gone back and added these features from the mobile version to the PC and console version, and they've added more features. Like they fixed a bunch of bugs. They've re-added fog because people were complaining it felt like way bigger when you had the fog, for example. They've added the classic lighting. It was like San Andreas is way more orange, and Miami is way more like neon.
You can't mess with the lighting like feel. Like you do that, it changes the feel of the game.
They've re-added ambient clouds high in the sky.
Is rain fixed?
Yeah, I think rain was fixed though, right before this point.
Rain was
and even there was a mod to fix it as well before that point. They fixed parallax windows, so they added these parallax windows to give the the look of depth in them, but they looked really bad. So they basically just
it was broken. Yeah,
they basically just made like non-parallax windows, and they look a lot better. They fixed animations so people on bikes aren't no longer like having their back high up in the air and looking completely out of place. There's a new there's also a new quality of life update, so you can now run and gun in Vice City and 3, which wasn't possible in the original games, but it's like a nice quality of life update, I guess. Which is cool to see. And then
why did it take this long to get some of these things though?
Well,
I just don't understand.
It seems like they got another company to do this because Grove Street Games has been completely removed from like the splash screen and like potentially was it the credits? They're definitely not mentioned in the splash screen. Like they've kind of been scrubbed. from the. They might still be in the credits, but they've definitely been scrubbed from the splash screen. So it seems like there's some bad blood between Grove Street Games and Rockstar now.
Yeah.
But even like, I think the CEO of Grove Street, because like, I don't know if you know this, Tony. Do you know what the name Grove Street is? Like,
no.
Do you know the input? Grove Street is the name of a street in Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, okay.
I think it's also the name of a place in Los Angeles, right?
Probably.
So, but I think specifically they were named after the place they were at, but it also has significant. It's also significant because is it the place where in San Andreas it's where the Grove, it's the Grove Street gang is the gang that you're in San Andreas.
Oh, is it? Okay, right.
So it was like.
So it's kind of like 243 sort of naming, like where it's like it's very important in the
if you
lore.
renamed the studio to Halo Studios, that would be kind of impactful to the.
Yeah. That
would ingrain the branding into you, you know. So it's kind of crazy that they've been like straight up removed from the. They've kind of been scrubbed from the game.
Yeah.
To be fair, the game was in a dog shit state when they launched it. I don't know who's to blame, whether it was Rockstar or Grove Street, but the CEO, I think it's the CEO of Rockstar, put out a statement saying, look, we developed fixes for the games like months after it got released and we weren't allowed to implement them. Like Rockstar sat on them and wouldn't let them implement them into the game. So...
Yeah. I feel bad for like the studio because like I can kind of see like two like they messed up, but so like but maybe like some other things caused them to not be able to do what they wanted to do. So I don't know. I need to know like the details to like know.
Yeah.
Because it feels bad. It's like you did this work, even if it was bad, and suddenly it's like no, you're not gonna be remembered. Like it kind of sucks.
But yeah, then we have Tony. Did you see the Game of the Year? Nominations. Okay, so
I did. I saw the nominations. Yeah,
we got Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. I've played 2 of these games, so I'm actually not that upset about the actual like nomination. Like I think, Balatro is one of the front runners for my personal games of the year, so I'm very happy to see this here. Metaphor, I'm going to need to play a lot more of, but it's definitely a very good Atlas game.
There are a lot of big misses this year. I was just trying to think, like, what do I think was missing? But I can't think of anything at the top of my head.
So what people have pointed out, like for me personally, Persona 3 Reload is one of my front runners for Game of the Year.
Oh, that's true.
But of course, we've got. I'm guessing they put Metaphor ahead of it because it's a new IP and not a remake.
Newer, not just remake, yeah.
And
that's
then,
probably what happened.
But then we also have Rebirth, which is a remake of Final Fantasy VII in here. So
yeah, but I think that is very different though.
And then people were also saying Silent Hill 2 remake by Bloober Team. They think was, which is another remake, but then again, there's also Final Fantasy VII here.
Not different enough. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. Maybe we should just have best remake. Like maybe are we at a point where we need to like have best remake, best expansion as separate things.
This year, I've been getting into playing Japanese games, and I can't say there hasn't been a better year, to my knowledge, of getting into Japanese games, because we've got 4 Japanese games nominated for Game of the Year. We have a Chinese game nominated for Game of the Year, and then we have the clown Canadian himself has snuck into the Game of the Year nomination. That's all we know about Local Thunk. Is I believe he's not. He's located somewhere in Canada. He is an anonymous guy, but he said he's somewhere in Canada, I believe.
But if he wins, we don't have to accept the award, or will he get someone else to?
I think he's going to get somebody dressed as Jimbo. If he won, the funniest thing he could do is he could get like a Northern Lion to come and accept the award. That would be so funny. Dressed as a clown.
But they don't know who's going to win. So I thought the idea that everyone turns up before anyway.
Yeah.
Just in case you do win.
Okay, so I think... Okay, I would be pretty happy with any of these winning Game of the Year, to be honest with you. Because I love Balatro. I think Metaphor's a really cool game. I don't know much about Rebirth, but if it's an improved version of Final Fantasy VII, the original remake, it's going to be a pretty solid game.
People seem to like it. So.
People seem to like Black Myth Wukong. I really want to fucking play Astrobot, but I don't have a PS5. That looks really cool. Team Asobi killing it again. And then I think the big one is the fact that right before the announcements, Jeff put out a statement saying, we are now specifically allowing DLC and expansions to be nominated for Game of the Year. And then they added Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree to it. To which it seems like at the last second they were like, oh, we want to make sure Elden Ring's DLC is up here. So they added it at the last second, which seems like they kind of bent the rules for it, which I think was...
Well, I would say this. I think adding the last minute thing that makes it seem... I feel like it's just like, this was the game, this is the DLC that was like, oh, maybe this should change our policy. That's kind of how I would read it, personally, to give them the benefit of the doubt. I feel like going like, oh, they wanted this to be nominated. I feel like it's no, they went, no, oh, okay, this is really good. Maybe we should change our policy. That's how I read it.
But to my understanding, I think Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree may be the only game up here with mixed reviews. At least when it launched, people were very unhappy about the balancing of Shadow of the Erdtree.
Yeah.
Let's have a look what its current rating on Steam is. It still has mixed reviews to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but it is interesting. I'm not sure I am 100% opposed to having this up here. I personally think remakes should be up. I think Persona 3 Reload should be up here if it was up to me.
It is different enough from the original game, I think. There
is other categories. We've had the controversy where Dave the Diver won Best Indie Game at the Game Awards, which caused a lot of controversy because it was technically a independent studio inside Nexon, which is a huge, massive mega corporation company.
I'm so 50-50 on that because it is so I get if the idea of the indie side is just be small creators that aren't supported by big studios, that's a big miss. But at the same time, this was a smaller project. I don't know. It's tricky. Where else would you put it? I don't know.
I would probably just make a best DLC category.
Yeah, 100%.
Is that not a category?
I think. Okay, I'll call it expansion, just so we don't get stupid. We had to put something in. It has to be big enough to be a DLC that's big enough to be an expansion.
Here's a couple of other games that got kind of missed. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and I fucking love Hellblade 2, but it seems like I might be in the minority here because it seems like a lot of people weren't huge fans of Hellblade 2.
Silent Hill 2's there. That's interesting.
Oh, by the way,
I guess that is a remake.
I think best score in music is going to be really close between Rebirth and Fantasio. I saw somebody doing they were doing their own game awards and they were doing worst title, and Metaphor was up there, and I was like, how are you going to say Metaphor is a bad game? And then I realized they were literally talking about the title of the game, and I'm like, yeah, Metaphor Fantasio is a fucking awful title for a video game. I 100% agree with you there.
Yeah. Does it have anything to do with anything in the story? I don't actually understand the naming.
Yeah, kind of technically Metaphor is a metaphor. Because it's a metaphor, in Metaphor, the fantasy world that the main protagonist has in his book is the human world, and it's like a fantasy metaphor for real life social politics and democracy.
But what's the Fantasio?
I don't know. It's really fantasy.
That's to me, it was why not choose something that, I don't know, Metaphor, and then call it something else that's then linked to the story. But yeah, I don't like the name either.
But playing Final Fantasy VII Remake the soundtrack for Final Fantasy VII Remake was fucking sick. So I can only imagine Rebirth is really good as well. And then Metaphor Fantasio. I think it's much more of it's not a jazz soundtrack. It's much more of a basically orchestral battle music sort of more background music sort of thing, fantasy stuff. Basically the composer was Yeah, everyone keeps saying it's really good. I don't understand why, because I didn't go hard on this at all, and everyone's like it's really good, and he's like, yeah, I mean it's okay. He was
That
basically
always happens in music though. The one that they like half-assed that people really like.
because he was saying like, oh, everyone was saying how it sounded really Atlasy, but he basically started making the soundtrack, and he was like, look, I'm not going to use any electronical instruments. It's all going to be like live orchestral instruments. And then as the game went on, he was like, I kind of had to give up on that role and add more and more electronic stuff as I started to run out of time.
That's interesting.
But like,
I guess so is the DNA though, the feel.
Metaphor's battle theme is so fucking cool. They got a Buddhist monk who basically made like he did like chants, like a what is it called, like a sintra, what is it called, he basically he did these chants, right? And they were like, hey, could you, they basically took the idea of Esperanto, which is like a language for unity, mixed it together with their fictional language in the world, and were like, can you chant this over like this like huge orchestra, like as like as like almost like a rap over like this huge orchestral music that comes in.
I was gonna say chants are basically like the old school rap, right?
Yeah, it's sick. Listen to the battle music for Metaphor. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. I it's my but a lot of music that I heard before you switched it to the
yeah, because I never hear it because I have the Persona 3 music on, because I have the Persona 3 DLC.
Yeah, I much prefer the original stuff before you switch it to the
but like
other theme.
That's only for the battle music. So whenever I'm like I'm just walking
around.
The
out is still the same. Okay.
I'm just walking around a random dungeon and it's just playing like this dungeon music, and I'm just walking around. I'm like, this song is such a fucking bop, and it's just like background music, but it's not just like this over the top jazz. It's like this, this orchestral like period fantasy stuff, and it's really good. It's really, really good.
That's my thing. I'm not a jazz fan, but I'm a very orchestral. Well, fantasy orchestrals, normal orchestrals, I don't get along with. It's very interesting.
Right, we're only an hour and 40 minutes in. Let's talk about releases.
Yep.
Dungeons of Blood and Dream has come out of early access. This is a game I heard about from the NoClip podcast, and it's essentially a psychedelic Deathloop roguelike game. You're essentially like trapped in like a prison camp, and when you dream, that's like the roguelike game. It seems really weird and interesting, which is why I wanted to check it out. Very, very excellent game. You can drink piss and it sometimes heals you, but watch out. Well, there it is. That's all I need to know. This game is really hard, and I still don't understand aspects of it after almost 9 hours of playtime, but it scratches every aesthetic itch of mine, and it's really good progress. People were comparing it to stuff like Cruelty Squad. I don't know if you... Did I show you Cruelty Squad, and you were like, I don't get this?
Yeah. I don't think I get this either. So
we have 12th of November. Tetris Forever came out, which is the brand new project by Digital Eclipse. They also did the Atari 50 collection, where they basically made like a playable... It's almost like a playable documentary where they went back and interviewed a bunch of the old developers behind the games and were like, oh, they did this, and here's the guy who worked on it, and here's like a playable version. It's like a museum piece almost. But they essentially did this for Tetris. But I think people are saying like it's got really good interviews, and the new Tetris Warp game is really cool. But it's essentially, it's not the best version. Like if you just want to play Tetris, just play Tetris Effect. But this is like a cool like period like museum thing, sort of thing, which is why I think it's got mixed reviews. It's not too expensive anyway. It's like £30. Like it's not crazy expensive. It's it's cool to see older games being preserved this way. The overall collection of games isn't great for the price it asks. I would only recommend this game to someone who is very enthusiastic about Tetris and only on sale. I was especially disappointed at the local-only multiplayer. I don't have friends who want to play Tetris with me and who live very close by. Steam Remote is the only option. but input delay is very critical in that high levels of gameplay. Also, please do not limit the max speed players can achieve in the time warp mode. Okay. I've been thinking about, when I played every Pac-Man game, I was like, should I get into every Tetris game now? And I was thinking about this game. Maybe I'll check this game out. Because I was looking at Tetris Effect. Not sure if I'll play Tetris Forever or Tetris Effect, but I might try and get more. Because I played Tetris 99 on the Switch, and I was like, multiplayer Tetris is really fun. But yeah, Rise of the Golden Idol came out on the 12th of November. This is the return of the award-winning detective saga game. It is essentially like a point-and-click, like mystery detective game. It's incredibly highly rated. I think essentially you have to basically go around and look at a bunch of clues for like how a murder or tragic incident took place, and you can fill them in. And you have to say, like, the man killed the man with the fire wrench or whatever. And you basically you're essentially like solving a mystery. This generally isn't the sort of game I would play, but I actually find myself way more interested in detective games when they're outside of my wheelhouse of games. Like, I'm not a huge fan of walking simulators generally, but I love the Outer Wilds, which is essentially like a detective game. I'm not a big fan of CRPGs, which is why like I'm more interested in playing Disco Elysium than I am Baldur's Gate 3, for example. Like,
right.
Like I'm much more interested in being a detective, and I've said I'm not that interested in fantasy stuff usually. And this is also more modern day. The first game, I think, was more of a period piece, whereas this is more like modern day stuff. I've heard you can play the original Golden Idol for free with a Netflix subscription, so I might actually just try playing it on Netflix. Because I have a Netflix.
There's a demo as well, so does that mean there's a...
Yeah, there's a demo
spotlight?
as well. Yeah, we could try this, actually. I'd be interested, because I literally saw Citizen Sleeper and was like, I'm not going to be interested in this. And I asked you to pick up some games for me out of Game Pass. And I started playing Citizen Sleeper, and I was like, this Citizen Sleeper game is really fucking good. That's the game I've been thinking about the most from the spotlights we did that I want to go back and play, is Citizen Sleeper. And then next, let's see what people are saying about it quickly. Great, like the first game, better art, better overarching story. A couple of puzzles were annoyingly specific, but overall I had a blast. The ending is surprisingly touching and serious compared to the series' overall whimsical tone. Day one purchase included the DLC pass and no regrets. The sequel was just as great as the first game. Enjoyed how everything was more interconnected, tied together. Stealth at the trippy 70s theme and all the cases were pretty logical, other than the strange syntax in one or two solutions. Really looking forward to the DLC. Oh, cool. 13th of November. Is this game trying to kill me? Tony, can we get a official genre for Inscription-like games? Because I think we're starting to hit like a... Daniel Mullins-esque games? I don't know. Like, we call Metroidvania games Metroidvanias because they're very much like Metroid and Castlevania.
But I just want to say, like, I think things that stick more, like, because originally, like, FPSs were Doom clones, I think the ones that are more descriptive in name are better.
You say that, but Souls games are very popular, despite being literally named after Dark Souls.
Yeah, I think there's a better name there, though. I think that's his current iteration of naming. I don't think that's going to stick in the long term.
But essentially, it's a spooky horror-esque game where you're in like a cabin in the woods and you have to solve a greater mystery that's going on as you play a game inside this cabin. It looks very much like Inscription. It looks interesting. I heard it was very heavily puzzle-based, though, which is why I was like, maybe it's not for me. But I'm also very intrigued. Maybe I'll give this one a go at some point. Next up, we have 14th of November. Sorry, we're closed. So I also heard about this one on the No Clip podcast, and it's getting a lot of good reviews. It's essentially a single-player horror game with like deep character interactions. But the really interesting thing about this game is, you know how in like survival horror games, you have like this third-person perspective, and you go around and you shoot people from like these fixed cameras, like CCTV camera stuff. In this dimension, in this game, you can switch between 2 dimensions. So you switch between like the demon dimension and the real life dimension. And when you're in like the other dimension, you can get past obstacles. So there'll be like a crate in your way, and then you switch to the other dimension, it won't be in your way and stuff. So it has like gameplay mechanics. But as well, when you switch this other dimension, you go into like a first person mode, and you can see like weak spots on the enemies you're fighting in the survival horror game.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I've heard it described as like queer survival horror. It seems really interesting. But yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I think the whole like aesthetics and the gameplay switching up stuff sounds really interesting, and it's got really good reviews. See what people are saying. I highly recommend this game. It's a true masterpiece. Deeply written, gay and punky characters, stylish artwork, low poly graphics, and awesome OSTs. All the stuff you can find here, you can literally see and feel how characters change their approach depending on your choices during the game. Not finish it, but enjoy every minute of this game so much. 10 out of 10. Almost halfway through so far. I've been really enjoying this game. It feels like SMT. What's SMT again? Shin Megami Tensei.
What's it?
That's
so
the
what's the
SMT.
context?
They're talking about games. Silent Hill plus Killer 7. I know this is Shin Megami Tensei, which is a Atlas game.
Right.
But is there another SMT game?
I don't know.
Maybe they are like literally talking about Shin Megami Tensei, which is
Maybe.
I would describe Shin Megami Tensei as like the harder, more adult version of Persona.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would categorize. I mean, technically, Persona games are Shin Megami Tensei games. They are Shin Megami Tensei Persona, but they're not called that in the West.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. But like Shin Megami Tensei 5 just came out this year on Steam, for example. It finally got ported over from the Switch, I think. But it's a game I'm interested in trying out. But if they are talking about Shin Megami Tensei, I don't know. That's the only SMT I know. It's Shin Megami Tensei, potentially Silent Hill and Killer 7. It's specific in a really good way and incredibly stylish. I'm also great for the accessibility options. The permanent healing item is just enough handholding to make the Silent Hill-esque jank less frustrating for someone who's never been a huge survival horror fan. It feels like an indie game made by 2 people, but in the best possible way. It feels authentic. It's a game that resonates with me because the authenticity. Kudos to the devs. I hope to see more of them in the future. Then we have... Oh, Tony, this is what you're excited for, the 14th of November.
Oh, yeah.
Lego Horizon Adventures, the Lego game where everything's made out of Lego, right? For the most part.
It looks so good. Yeah, I was double checking. Like a lot of the ponds and things definitely are. I try to find like trailer parts with like showed big water background. Maybe I'm being an idiot, but
So this game has mixed reviews.
yeah, there's not many reviews either, which I find interesting.
Well, one thing I did read was saying that it was not as expansive as a Lego game. So they were saying that you could only have 4 characters to switch between. So there wasn't like Lego games historically. You have like this huge roster of characters that would kind of change up.
Yeah, I think you have to buy the DLC, the deluxe edition, to get more outfits.
Right. So
that doesn't help.
So with the expansion of Zero Dawn, the story taking you across all the map, I was hoping to see more Lego Lord of the Rings, where you can explore the entirety of the world in between levels with varied weapons for each character, hidden secret side quests. However, this game is nothing like that. In fact, I would argue this is only a Lego game in the sense the graphics are Lego bricks, because the actual gameplay lacks almost every staple of Lego games. There's only 4 playable characters, no ability to switch between them within levels. The levels are linear with virtually no puzzles and no exploration. The only gameplay is occasionally fighting machines or enemies, then running down a linear path with nothing to do but break some boxes, then fight again and repeat. The levels are incredibly repetitive, and even when they include variants such as cauldrons or tall necks, it's still just running down a path, fighting an enemy and continuing down the path. The levels also have no collectibles such as mini-kits or red bricks. You can collect red bricks, but they are only used to unlock cosmetics. rather than unlocking cheat codes like the other LEGO games. The story also does not adhere to the plot of Zero Dawn at all, which is fine, if that's what you're expecting. Other reviews have said it's a reimagining, and that is true. Entire mission arcs, important characters, and most locations from Zero Dawn are absent entirely or rewritten, and you have to interact with the Nora tribe as Mother Hearth in the hub world. I struggled to get into this game at the beginning because it was so different than what I expected, but I keep going and tried to give it a fair shot. However, this is supposed to be a LEGO Horizon game, and I played it because I wanted a LEGO game based on Horizon, similar to every LEGO game that was come before it. Every LEGO game has similar format, and I was looking for that format, but with characters and setting from Zero Dawn. If you're interested in this game for the same reasons I was, then give this game a pass. If not, then feel free to try it yourself. It seems like they're saying like it's not a LEGO Horizon game. It's more so a linear sort of Horizon-esque game, so the LEGO skin.
I personally, I don't think there should be like a I feel like there's like LEGO like style play games, but it's like I feel like that shouldn't be the only thing that's like in the LEGO style. Like, I don't think that could be.
Another thing, it could be just for young kids, and they're just trying to keep. Yeah. Well, another thing is like they're trying to keep the Horizon IP going because tons of people want Horizon Zero Dawn. There's a reason they remastered that game, despite not needing a remaster, and that's because they want to keep the IP going. There's going to be a Horizon Zero Dawn like TV stuff coming. They wanted to do the LEGO stuff to appeal more to the youngest people and the Switch stuff. My biggest question mark, someone pointed out in the reviews, they said this literally cost the same amount of money as Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, that it should be a lot less.
£60 seems a bit excessive to me.
It should be like 40 at most. It's like what I'd expect from this sort of game.
Yeah. But are you disappointed? Or you think this is okay? Like, is this
I think I would still look into it, but I think price to price to content.
Well, the next one I was interested to check out, it's Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. I've always been interested in the Dragon Quest games, as I've been getting more into Square Enix stuff. And it's such like a huge... How many Dragon Quest games are there now? There's got to be like at least like 11 or something.
Yeah.
How many Dragon Quest games are we on now? Let me try and look this up. I'm going on Wikipedia now. I gotta find our latest Dragon. How do I skip down to the fucking just the games? There's the latest Dragon Quest 11. There's gonna be a Dragon Quest 12. So there's a lot of Dragon Quest games. But I was confused when they announced this at the Nintendo Direct. They're starting with the third one, but apparently this is a prequel story to the first game, so it actually makes sense chronologically to start with the third one because they're doing the entire trilogy in this 2D HD remaster. I did read some of the reviews, and I think people were saying like, from the negative stuff I saw, it was like they thought it was £50, so not 60, but it was quite expensive, and I think it is like faithful to a T. Like they have added quality of life stuff, but there still is that very much that old school. Like for example, every monster in this game, I believe, has a different set of stats based on whether it's a male or a female. There's like A type and B type, which is just something you would never see in like a modern RPG, for example, or something I read. And I was like, what the hell? That sounds crazy. But yeah, it seems like people who are like really into like the nostalgia of this are loving this, and then some of the people who have come in from like Dragon Quest 11 are like, man, this is like very dated sort of thing. But I don't know, I'm still interested to give it a try. I think I saw a Digital Foundry video on this. They put out like a sponsored video where they were like, it looks really cool, but they didn't give any technical analysis on it, so I have no idea how this runs. Which I found kind of interesting. They did like a sponsored video, but they didn't talk about the technical stuff.
Not allowed. I guess I've required them because you always have to be like negative, or not even negative, but you have to be critical, which I guess some brands don't want. Maybe,
I didn't.
That's weird.
I didn't really see that many negative reviews, but it is mixed. I was excited for this. It has let me down graphically, wonderfully, lacking in almost all aspects, repetitive music, missing quality of life consideration, clunky. No, it's about it being grindy. It's an ancient RPG, of course, it's grindy. It's about all the cut corners around that grind that make the final product feel cheaper than it looks. Because I think I saw you could like fast forward through battles in this one, which I was like, oh, that's a good quality of life thing, right? Or you can even have like your characters automatically attack, like choose their own inputs. I don't know. Next up we have, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 came out, and people are very upset about this because didn't you say like a lot of the assets are being streamed over the cloud and basically the servers are getting fucked?
Yeah, and there's huge problem with popping. Like you can force download like certain regions,
right?
But it's just a level of like clunkiness, and it's just not and like they haven't like added like many improvements other than like new. I say improvements. They haven't any interesting extra from 2020, other than like maybe some like slight graphical details to the ground, which I guess could be huge in certain areas, and then some mission types.
Well, from what I understand, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 was supposed to be the final Flight Simulator. It was meant to be like the live service hub version of Flight Simulator. It was going to be all updated from there. And then they were like, no, we're going to do another one, which I don't know how, like, is this version like, oh yeah, this is a huge technological leap between this and the previous version. We needed to make another game to purchase and have DLC. Because I believe...
people are saying there's not much difference.
From what I believe, if you purchase stuff from the 2021, you can carry it over to this new one, which is nice to see.
That is... Yeah, that has been... I don't know if that's everything, but at least like the asset stuff, I think that's correct.
It's basically 2020 after a spa day, slightly better posture handling, and a new outfit visuals. Cloud.
Someone said, I think
chaos.
Jason said that the physics seems to be slightly better, but I haven't like been able to confirm that. It just like seemed like you can like some of the stalling logic is like better, or at least more harder to or easier to fail, sort of thing.
It seems like they've just had a really bad launch for this as well. I think they put
so the launch was terrible, and then what's the point of the game itself?
I think they've said like they did not expect this many people to be playing this game. They didn't expect, because I think they assumed it was more like a hardcore enthusiast audience for Flight Sim. Like, this is on Game Pass. I could play this. I don't have any interest in playing Flight Simulator personally. I just thought it was interesting how big of a debacle it was becoming in terms of its rollout.
I find that their response to that interesting, considering how many people tried to play 2020. Like, that was also quite big.
Speaking of another game available on Game Pass that I could play that I haven't played, but has kind of a not the strongest outing, is Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl. So I played Metro Exodus a couple of years ago, because that's kind of my jaunter into these Eastern European like post-apocalyptic survival games. And I know, because I told you about the genre that I've become familiar with over the years called Eurojank, where it's like the idea of like these Eastern European made games that are like have really interesting ideas, and it's like they have really cool stuff in them, but are usually like very technically buggy or not the greatest in terms of visuals every now and then. But it seems like Stalker 2 is like, from a gameplay perspective, is like very interesting. Like the story, the atmosphere, the visuals look really good. It's got a lot of great gameplay ideas. But then it seems to be technically not running very well. It seems to either be very heavy or like needs performance patches. I believe they've said that there's a patch coming in the next couple of weeks to try and help people. These is from a Ukrainian development studio, so they are literally in a war-torn country trying to develop this game.
Yeah.
But you know,
it's like some doesn't change like what people experience, but yeah, I give some leniency because of that to the actual developers.
Now, I was going to say I played Metro Exodus and I was kind of like, I'm not a big fan of these like games that are going more for like realism post-apocalyptic. I'm more like Fallout post-apocalyptic, where it's just like, let's make a post-apocalyptic game that's less realistic but more fun. It's kind of where the stuff I like.
But I think people like the realistic, like the haunting, like very real things you have to try and deal with. I think people have really enjoyed that. Like I think that's like a part of like the almost the fantasy or like the eerie nature of these these locations.
Yeah, I have to keep an eye on Stalker 2 because it seems like some people do dislike it for its changes. Some people are saying there's lots of enemies just randomly spawning in. Like changes to the gameplay sort of stuff. But yeah, what are you interested in Stalker at all? Of these like
No, not really.
post-apocalyptic stuff?
I think I kind of want to. Well, I kind of want to play Metro. Like I've owned them, never played them,
Right.
but I'm not a shooter person. But like I have some interest in like this sort of aesthetic, I suppose, or this sort of theme. But Stalker itself, yeah, it's not what I'm looking for.
Let's move on to retro emulation. As we have GOG is launching the GOG Preservation Program. The GOG Preservation Program is an official stamp on classic games, which will allow you to know that they have been improved with a commitment of our own resources to ensure their compatibility with modern systems and make them as enjoyable to play as possible. So when you have a game on this GOG preservation program, you know that no matter what, you'll always be able to play this game on modern systems, which is really cool to see. We have begun with the re-release of 100 classic games from our catalog with updated, improved, or quality-tested builds, including masterpieces like Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Resident Evil, and Diablo plus Hellfire. So, like, if you wanted to play the original Diablo game, for example, Tony, you could play it through GOG, which I think is one of the few places you can play the original Diablo. I don't know if it's even on Battle.net.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't remember seeing it.
The GOG Preservation Program is how we'll achieve that. GOG Store identifies games that are part of the Preservation Program with a dedicated stamp. The stamp ensures that these games will run on your PC hassle-free, and you can enjoy them as much as you did the first time you played them. Expect to see more games join the Preservation Program, both from our existing catalogue and in new classic editions. So they are looking to add more games to this. Like, I think this is really important to be like, look,
oh yeah,
you know, you can play this classic game, and we're guaranteeing that it will be able to run at higher resolutions, be able to support modern controllers. It will be able to run on modern systems. Like,
a lot of people like, even if they kind of like, some people like find that they're like used to like this, but some people like just try and get like, oh, someone recommended this, and I wanted to see these old games. They don't know the ins and outs of like how to, like what the limitations are. So it's like good to have these stamps.
It's like I don't buy many games on GOG, but when I do, it's because I'm buying old games. Like I have Star Trek Voyager Elite Force 1 and 2, and I have the original Rayman games because I want to play the original Rayman games, and they're preserved on GOG. But I think this is a really admirable project, and I hope they continue with this stuff because It's nice because I feel like GOG can't make that much money, but it's nice when they're like funded by stuff like Cyberpunk and The Witcher, which is just like massive media properties. It's cool to see. Next up, we have Steam news. The next limited edition Steam Deck OLED comes in white and will be available globally this time. I don't know if they've. I'm guessing it's completely a different colorway. But it also wouldn't surprise me if Valve like tinkered one tiny thing inside the actual hardware.
Oh, probably. There's always revision changes.
Russ from Retro Game Core just literally put out a video on the new Steam Deck video, despite lying to me on the Nerd Nest podcast saying he wasn't going to buy one. So
he lied to you personally, did he?
This might be a review sample. I don't know. I don't know if he's written about his affiliation. I know Russ, whenever he gets sent stuff, they don't ask for it back. If he doesn't use it himself, he'll basically do a charity auction and auction it off and then give the money to charity for the handhelds he doesn't need. I'm just going to... Will it get dirty? That is the great question about a white Steam Deck OLED.
Yeah.
It seems like it is. It's like the see-through colorway, because I thought the clear one was really cool, but you could only get the clear one in America. It was only available to get in America. But with this brand new limited edition white Steam Deck, you get a white Steam Deck cloth. Okay. Yeah, I need to get one.
You could just get a white skin for yours and just get a white cloth.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Well, it won't be an OLED.
Yeah, I don't have the OLED. You know, I do use my Steam Deck a lot when I'm out and about, but I don't use it day to day when I'm in my house. But man, I'm just really waiting for a Steam Deck 2 at this point. This is so cool. I love the grey accents on the buttons as well. I think that looks really clean.
Yeah. That's really like retro almost as well, like PS1 sort of look.
You still have the orange power button from the OLED version though, which I don't know. Some people don't like. Some people don't like it. I'm not the biggest fan of the orange power button.
No, it's a bit shallow. I would replace it if I could.
Yeah. But yeah. This version of the Steam Deck OLED will be available globally, including the brand new Australia, who's just been added to the shipping.
Wait, Australia's never existed before.
Australia's just been invented.
Brand new Australia, guys. The new Australia drop.
But yeah, I don't need this. I just need to wait for the Steam Deck 2, you know?
If you want it white, just get a skin.
No, but I have the LCD, so I'd want the OLED is the thing.
True.
And next up on Steam news, you were excited about this. Steam is getting proper season pass support.
You know what? I was actually just looking at like the I think Diablo 4 I was looking at. It's like it has like a terrible season pass thing. Or it was a different.
Right.
No, well, no, it was a different game. But I was looking at it before the podcast, like, oh man, this needs to be better.
So, with this new season pass support, all DLC must be listed with expected release dates. If DLC is cancelled, a refund for the value of the unreleased DLC will be offered. So basically, Steam's like, look, if you're going to get people to pay up front for DLC, which I personally think is fucking dumb, I don't like season passes. Yep. But if people want to pay up front for your DLC, you have to tell them when it's coming out, and if you don't deliver and give them the DLC, you have to refund them a portion of what they spent.
I would say, like, if you don't want to pre-order, like, use it as a pre-order, like, normally what happens, the season pass stays around after the fact, so it just becomes a DLC bundle. Especially if there's multiple seasons. So, and it's then really hard to know what's in the season pass, even after the fact. So is there any talk of like is there any UI change to show this information, or is it very much just requirements from the whoever's the publisher or developer having to put stuff onto the store page?
Well, they're saying if you can't clearly communicate about the content included in the DLC and which each DLC will be ready for launch, you shouldn't offer a season pass on Steam. I think they're saying that you have to set it up as a season pass.
Okay. So that should be
separate
visible.
DLC bundle. Like if it is a season pass, it needs to be a season pass.
Yeah. Okay. No, that seems pretty good. That's almost exactly what I want.
Because this is like new Steamwork documentation for developers to say, look.
Yeah.
Let's check the FAQs. Should DLC content be exclusive to Season Passes? This is up to you. Content that's included in your Season Pass can be exclusive, or it can be made available outside of the Season Pass. This store supports either configuration. It's a good idea to provide Season Pass holders with a built-in discount or incentive of buying all content upfront via the Season Pass. What is the difference between a Season Pass and a Battle Pass? A Battle Pass is similar but different to a Season Pass. In a Battle Pass setup, all content is added to a specific DLC or microtransaction at the start of a predefined gameplay session, and then Battle Pass holders can earn and unlock all of that content in the DLC through normal gameplay milestones. This may happen very quickly for higher engaged players, or slowly for more casual players, but the pace of the unlock is controlled by the player's progress. For the Season Pass, you select what content is released to customers, and that release is based on gameplay milestones, somewhat muddying these two definitions the fact that many games creatively name their battle passes, sometimes even calling them Season Passes, but for the purpose of documentation, we'll keep these functional definitions separate.
Okay, good. That's good to know.
Will my Season Pass update automatically after I release DLC or content? No. You will need to return to your Season Pass DLC and update to indicate your content has been released. Otherwise, your Season Pass won't be updated and the customers will think the promised content did not release. Oh, so I think with this change, when a new DLC is added to the Season Pass, it should send a notification to you that new DLC is out for your Season Pass, I believe.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
Can I provide advanced access to DLCs to customers who haven't purchased a Season Pass? Yes, you can. You can accomplish this by releasing the DLCs without a store page and no other way to purchase the DLC that does not also provide advanced access. Then once the DLC is released with a store page, you need to go into the Season Pass DLC roadmap and indicate that DLC has been released. Of course, you can release DLC in a Season Pass anytime before your indicated release window. Please update your Season Pass roadmap so the customers know your DLC has been released. Someone's saying here, like Gearbox Publishing and Blackbird Interactive, they made a year one Season Pass for Homeworld 3, and then after 7 months, they cancelled it before the 1 year was up. So there has been several situations where companies have gone, here's a roadmap of all the DLC, and then they completely scrap some of it, and then people don't get their money back. So
under these new terms, it means that you easily refund it because it didn't fulfill.
Also, this is the first time I've seen a news source on Blue Sky. I've seen a lot more people moving over to Blue Sky from Twitter recently because there's this crazy psychopath guy called Elon Musk that owns it now.
Yeah, I was explaining to, I think it might have been Gone with Tours, was like, this is like the third big wave of people moving over. And someone was complaining after the second wave, like, oh, people are just going to stay on Twitter. I'm like, no, don't think of it like that. People are going to stay on Twitter as well. It's just like, you just want to also use you're going to be on two platforms until it fully moves over, right? And the thing that made Twitter, X, so good was that loads of people on it. It's like, it's going to take time.
It's called Twitter.
No, I'm calling it X because it's dead. I want Twitter to stop being in use so Blue Sky can buy the name Twitter and rename themselves to Twitter.
Okay, what is the act of posting a post on a social media like Blue Sky called? Is it a tweet still?
It's just a post is the general term of anything.
I'm going to tweet it. I'm putting out a tweet right now.
I think, agnostically, it'd just be a post. Like a tweet is a type of post. It's just that it was a Twitter. It was a tweet, a smaller post. But yeah.
Right. Then we have.
It's all done. It didn't have to happen.
Nvidia news: the Nvidia app has reached its 1.0 milestone in exit beta. The GeForce experience is now deprecated, and some of the control panel features have been put into the Nvidia app, but there still is access to the Nvidia control panel from the Nvidia app as well. You don't use the Nvidia app, do you? You use
no.
Were you just downloading drivers, or?
Yeah, I just do it manually. I don't see the difference.
I like the Nvidia app. I like having the ability to use its. I like the in-game benchmark stuff it has, like not benchmark, the FPS counter it offers is very useful. Just turn that off and on, and then also RTX HDR is pretty cool.
Not something I can really use. Like the way I've got like myself set up, is like nothing really. I don't need any of that stuff like be integrated like that. So it's like I just need the control panel sometimes, and when I need an update, I would just go.
But usually, like I do play a lot more games that are coming out more frequently, so I do update my drivers a lot. And I'm
telling you now, I don't update my games because I'm playing a new game. I just see if it works. I don't care. I have had several stuff where, like Final Fantasy 16 demo, for example, was like you have the wrong drivers. I'm going to crash. And oh, okay. Yeah. My general rule is I will not change drivers unless I have an issue. Like I won't change. Like I don't like doing updates or driver updates, especially unless I have a specific issue I'm trying to solve. It's like, okay, now I will do it. That's my.
I'm
personal
the
rule.
opposite. I kind of prefer to being on the bleeding edge, but then it opens me up to more bugs, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have that many issues.
Let's move on to there's Petermology tweet. Imagine a game when you collect different days. There are 365 of them to find, and each day offers a unique perspective of your environment and story. Somebody says, love this. Time is the most valuable collectible. There it is.
Is this like Pokemon Go? But
Somebody
like,
says, only once every 4 years you get the chance to collect February 29th. That is so funny. Yeah, every 4 years there's an in-game event called Leap Year where you get the chance to have February 29th.
Here's a question: is PMI on Blue Sky yet?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I've never used Blue Sky.
A lot of artists in the most recent TOS Twitter stuff is like forcing them to move, but a lot of other people have not moved. But celebrities have moved as well after the presidency stuff.
As somebody who uses Twitter every day, I have not moved. I'm still on this platform.
Yeah, I'm slowly using both, but I've not built up the other app properly, so I'm still mainly a Twitter user.
You can check us out, youtube.com at Everything In Between Podcast. That's our handle. Twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live and type in the chat. And shows.cast.com/everything-in-between-podcast. There'll be the audio version with links to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or download it and listen to it on a bus, on a bike, walking around. And we will...
in a car?
In a car? You wouldn't steal a car. We'll see you next time.
On the train?
Goodbye.
Bye.